Alright, y'all, what's up? I'm Brandon. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going over my stats, extracurriculars, and essays that helped me get into the University of Wisconsin-Madison with a low GPA. If you're rising sophomore, junior, or even a freshman, with a lower GPA, and you're wondering, how can I get into a school like UW-Madison? Hopefully this video can help you, get kind of an insight into, essay examples or extracurricular ideas that, you can do to help you get in. And also, if you have not already, I made a college decision reaction video. It's also on my channel. Well, I know y'all know where I'm going already. But if you want to go see other places I got in with these sets, go watch that video. Alright, y'all, for my grades and GPA, I had a unweighted 3.1-ish, and my weighted GPA was like a 4.2, and I only took 3 APs during high school. I'm still currently taking AP Literature and Composition, and then last year I took AP Lang and AP Psych, and I got a 4 on AP Psych and a 3 on AP Lang. So I really only took like AP courses that kind of had relevance to what I wanted to do, which for a very long time was creative writing. So I took Lang, I took Lit, and I'm also in a creative writing class right now. So yeah. And for the rest of my classes, I took all honors courses except for classes that can't be honors like PE, but the rest of the core classes I took were honors. Alright, y'all, next up I'm going to be talking about my extracurriculars. So the first one I listed was I guess technically the biggest one was family responsibility. So if you're like a junior and you're thinking, oh, I don't have any extracurriculars, I kind of just like sit at home and take care of my siblings, that counts. Write that down. That definitely counts as extracurricular. Anything that kind of takes up time besides school counts as extracurricular. It could be collecting rocks for all you want. It could be doing anything, but it counts, so write it down. So that was the first thing I named. And then I played football and ran track all 4 years of high school, so I wrote that down. I was also a camp counselor from when I was eligible to work. So when I turned 16, let's say sophomore year. And then I was a freshman mentor. So basically, it's kind of what the title sounds like, mentored freshmen in a group of 4 to 5 other upperclassmen. We just went into like freshman advisories, talked about them, asked them if they had any questions about anything, just gave general advice. And then I was also in poetry club for a while. I didn't go to that many meetings, unfortunately, but also if you're in a club and you don't go to that many meetings, there's a section where you say like how many hours you spent. You can note that there. And if you didn't go to that many meetings but you still went to a few, y'all can write that down. Just because anything that ever took up time in your high school career, they want to know about anything that you do outside of the classroom. Alright, y'all, for the last thing we have my essays. So I'm just gonna read a personal statement and then my Wisconsin specific essay, and then I'll have screen recordings from the side when I start reading. Alright, so this is the personal statement. 238,900 miles, the distance between Earth and the moon, but maybe that doesn't seem too long. How about the length of the entire Milky Way galaxy? That's about 100,000 light years. Even still, I believe that the idea of losing my uncle was even farther out. As a kid, the reality of death always seems 100,000 light years away. I didn't realize that death is faster than light speed. It's instantaneous and hits like a black hole, ripping up the lives of everyone in its path, ripping up my life. After receiving the news about my uncle, I completely shut down. I was stranded in space, lost in the void of unknowing and solitude. I was thrown from my spaceship, not being able to find my way back. Eventually, I found a sense of comfort in reading. I would lay down in my bed and read Percy Jackson and the Olympians, while the smooth sounds of To Zion by Lauryn Hill would wrap over me like a warm silk blanket, like that first sip of hot chocolate on a cold January afternoon. I would spend hours getting lost in that book, becoming a connoisseur of metaphors, a detective analyzing the white spaces between the lines. The words turned to sentences, then paragraphs, and they eventually became chapters. I read the entire series at least 3 times that summer, even watching the movies, no matter how bad they were. I think I loved Percy Jackson so much because it was relatable for me. As a young kid with ADHD, I felt different, felt like an outcast. Honestly, I was a little bit jealous of him. For one, he was able to go to the underworld and bring his mom back from the dead. All I had left was a reminder of a missed opportunity. Oftentimes, I wish I could go back and get to know my uncle better, become closer to him. Although I've had found solace in being lost in those delicate pages, I would often be too far gone, lost in a maze of homophones and synonyms, attached to words yet not being able to form my own. I was stuck in my own mental refuge, my own Camp Half-Blood, one where my uncle was still alive. From becoming attached to the safety of an impossible thought, I developed an anxiety of public speaking, or even speaking to my own family when asking for things. This became a recurring issue for me, not talking loud enough, but being too nervous to talk any louder. My confidence in my speech had declined ever since that summer, and I was tired of it. I decided that my thoughts and words mattered, and I had ideas important enough to share with everyone. I wasn't sure I could accomplish, or wanted to accomplish, this idea about speech. I knew there was going to be another way to spread my ideas and thoughts, so I thought back to the authors that helped me during the worst moments of my life. And those thoughts was where I found my solution: writing. I fell in love with it, creating whole, intricate universes with the stroke of a pen or the click of a keyboard. I fell in love with Comic Sans and didn't care much for Times New Roman. Slowly, I was able to express my emotions and feelings through typed words, and those, soon enough, became spoken words. Even though I had now been able to speak again confidently, I never lost my love of writing. Now, I want to use my abilities to create books and stories that can give people the same love for writing that those books gave me in my darkest moments. And suddenly, I was back on my spaceship. Alright, y'all. Next, I'm going to read my campus statement essay for UW-Madison. Humans, the most inquisitive beings on Earth. Throughout the span of humanity, life has always been focused around questions. For me, my life revolved around why. I often thought to myself, questioning why I was so different from other kids. Why couldn't I just sit still and be quiet like other kids? Why couldn't I be good? The summer before 4th grade was when I finally found my answer. After being taken to see a specialist that gave me different puzzles, games, and tests, I found out that I had been diagnosed with ADHD. Suddenly, my world of whys became peaceful, as that question that riddled with anxiety and confusion was now obsolete, and ADHD gave my life a whole new meaning. This was the first experience I had ever had with any form of psychology, specifically mental disorders and behavioral psychology. Ever since then, my eyes became open to how fascinating the field of psychology was, and how commonly it can affect others around you. My junior year of high school, I was able to take an AP psychology course with Miss Nelson. I instantly became infatuated, filling my days with readings of the DSM and all of its versions, and studying Freud and his interesting theories about kids and their parents. At UW-Madison, I want to continue to research the field of psychology and eventually become a specialist like the one who first gave me a diagnosis all those years ago. I'm also applying to UW-Madison because I want to take advantage of the world-renowned study abroad programs. Hopefully, I'll go to Argentina and or Sydney. I believe that being a global citizen, especially in today's society, is one of the most important things you can do. Being able to work together with like-minded individuals in different places around the world can help towards building better solutions for the problems of today. Hey guys, that is it. I hope this video serves just as a a little light of hope that if you don't have the strongest grades, the strongest extracurriculars, maybe not even the strongest essays, with how crazy and I guess crazy and random the college admission process is, that you can get into any school you put your mind to. I did not at all think I was getting into Wisconsin. Not at all. I mean, I saw my stats, and I was being told that if you didn't have a 4.7, 4.8 GPA and a 1500 SAT, that you weren't going to get into a good college. And, look where we are. So, have faith, keep pushing, and, just really just believe in yourself. Believe that you can do it, everything like that. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.